found a tube, and the minute I opened it, the smell transported me through time.
This one's wife, as ever, snorting with laughter. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This one's wife has launched, if you can describe it as such, the rebrand, which is as ever. There has been plenty of comment about it, and this is going to continue because this one's wife will not be able to help herself but keep providing material which will entertain. I've also, here and there, been examining the reaction of the mainstream media to this rebrand, and we have Hilary Rose's thoughts, courtesy of the Times newspaper. She explains, let us be clear, snorting with laughter is undignified. It's not why this one's wife spent so many hours having her makeup applied to look as if it wasn't there. It is not why Harry got out of bed when the California light was just right to say, "It's recording," and hand her a phone, his duties complete. And it's not why this one's wife's expert team poured all their knowledge of Hollywood production values into a homespun little nugget of this week's truth. Yet my truth is that I laughed. I'm so ashamed. The premise is a video about her brand, American Riviera Orchard, now renamed As Ever. The scene is a garden in California, possibly hers, possibly rented. And our heroine is bravely spinning defeat into victory, courageously relaunching the unlaunchable, with only a smoky eye and a nude lip to help her. And then she said this: "Of course, there will be fruit preserves. I think we're all clear at this point that jam is my jam." Partly it's the faux bashful look she summons to reassure her adoring public, doomed to live a half-life without future fruit preserves. And that wondrous phrase, "jam is my jam." What does it mean, this one's wife? Is it code? Are you asking the aliens for help? Later in the video, she takes the time to explain why poor old ARO is now As Ever. To be clear, it's just a little local difficulty. It has nothing to do with the UN's Patent and Trademark Office's rules, or the truth, as they might reasonably put it. In Monty's shit show, one person's patent difficulty in another person's super exciting opportunity. It's the way you frame it, which is what this one's wife no doubt told the director, who lingered lovingly, one might almost say as ever, on Princess Diana's Cartier watch. But instead of explaining how she hit on As Ever, and honestly the mind boggles, she explains what the words mean. I reduce her explanation in full as a homage to Dr. Johnson. As ever, she tells us, looking earnestly into the camera, essentially means as it's always been. And then she's on to the next thing, which is that life is not just about fruit preserves. It's like a box of chocolates and other stuff too. And all over the world, her adoring public declared themselves willing to buy that fruit preserve, whatever the cost. But wait, what further news from yonder palm tree comes? More products, exciting products. There are so many more products that I just love that I use in my home, she said, such as an As Ever dustpan and brush, As Ever antibacterial bathroom wipes, a mop. The video is a masterpiece, no question. There's suspense, sincerity, self-congratulation and meaningful new jewellery, because our heroine is nothing without meaningful new jewellery. This week it's a red heart necklace, and no doubt in future the video will be tagged, linked in bio, use discount code HRH. The necklace doesn't quite get as much airtime as Diana's watch, but if you think about it for a long time, in a quiet room, you might understand why. This one's wife tells us that she always loved cooking and crafting, but alludes darkly to a time when she wasn't allowed to talk about it because she was tied to a radiator or something, and possibly also because when it came to being a royal, Queen Elizabeth II took the view that crafting wasn't quite up there with opening a hospice. Poor this one's wife. Were you silent or silenced? And so, having rewritten the brief and unhappy history of American Riviera Orchard as a triumph for something or other, this one's wife does the same with her own life. All those sharp-elbowed years of crafting and hustling now rebranded as golden years of crafting and gardening and waiting for her prince to come. This, she says, all innocent smoky eyes, is what I do. Last week we were told that this one's wife's usual sign-off is, "With love, Meghan." If only they'd let her see it, because that's what she would have written on the palace's report into her alleged bullying before sending it back to them. This week, it's as ever. Next week, whatever. But rest easy, people, the fruit preserves are coming. Of course they are. Hilary Rose, with her usual entertaining observations about this one's wife. Hilary Rose, naturally, being sarcastic about this one's wife, highlighting the many aspects of her self-absorption, her contradictions, her hypocrisies, all naturally driven by her narcissism. What do the readers of the Times think about all of this? I haven't done it for a little while. Let's dip below the line to see what their minds are focused upon. Martin Davies writes, "as if" would be more appropriate. Sam Dryber wrote, "well, that was a stressful 30 seconds. I'll give the girl a chance. I thought and decided to play the video. After 7.5 seconds or thereabouts, I really couldn't take any more and pressed the X to stop it. But my phone was having none of it. I get myself into a tailspin of anxiety as I couldn't stop it or shut it up. Turn the phone off as that appeared to be the only solution." Jonathan Suckling, "narcissism at its best." Simon Evans, "cringe, so cringe." Jane Brown, "my nanny used to say common is as common does." V. Peng, "I'm worried she's spreading herself too thinly." W. Jennings, "she's in a real jam as ever. Hilariously, I expect the range will now include rose jam, but I have no doubt that she'll spread her jam across the world, and Harry the Elite will use it." John Bamber, "as ever, this one's wife is just so awful. She is beyond parody." John Moir, "I feel a bit sorry for her. She kissed a prince who turned into a frog." Lucille Kerslake replies, "I feel sorry for him. Married what he thought was quite the catch, and she turned out to be a vacuous gold digger." A. Pegman, "she looks gaunt. I think inside she's screaming." Richard Cook, "it's got one thing, narcissism." R. Robinson, "or how about an as ever loo brush for the non-stop verbal diarrhea she produces?" Mac Hutton, "there's too much coverage of this talentless, spoilt, has-been troublemaker." Jan Andrew replies, "yes, but she is comedy gold, do admit." J. Rees, "whatever." R. Johnston, "what on earth is going on? Has Mrs. Sussex been out in the sun too long?" Linda Armstrong replies, "bronzer." Noel Ferguson adds, "who cares?" Steve Clayton, "and heaven preserve us from any more of this one's wife as ever mindless narcissism." There are no complimentary comments. Someone even likens it to the ridiculous Jaguar relaunch some months back as being plain silly. What it does show is that this one's wife, so desperate to be taken seriously, so desperate to be taken seriously as a potential politician, bananatarian, philanthropist, content creator, is just becoming more and more ridiculed. There are those that create the parodies of her. South Park did the parody of her. She's regularly the subject of jokes from me and other commentators. But the pace has increased. The pace has increased because she's going to expose herself all the more through Instagram. Not only in terms of the frequency of posting, but what she does post. It has gone beyond the point of redemption for her. She's simply just now going to generate content that'll be laughed at, that'll be ridiculed, that'll have the piss taken out of it. And rightly so, because this clueless woman is just demonstrating all along what she is, a particularly useless narcissist. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.